Hey guys, I am just making sure I've got everything covered. Okay, I'm going to try and monitor our comments on my phone because it doesn't really let me do it very well on the computer. So we just gotta find my volume control. Sorry, guys. All righty. We are going to get started with confidence building. So, confidence in dogs is something that, it comes naturally to some dogs, and some dogs don't really have just like this natural confidence to them. So some confidence comes from like the socialization that we're doing with them. It's some of the socialization that our the breeders that we get them from has done with them. Socialization that we go out and do with them is a huge part of some of this confidence. Sometimes it's really just personality. There are some dogs that are going to be really kind of just confident, and some dogs that are going to be really timid that we have to work really hard to kind of bring out of their shell. And those are the dogs when we bring them home are ones that we would need to work through some of that socialization in a whole lot of different ways. So some other ways that I see dogs that maybe are lacking in confidence or things like that is we can see these fear stages. Puppies go through fear stages like 8 weeks, then we see it again maybe at 4 or 5 months, and then again at 8 or 9 months. If we get stuck in a fear stage where we really weren't able to help them move through it in an effective way, sometimes I see puppies get stuck in just a fear stage where we have just reinforced this behavior over and over again unknowingly, and we're stuck, and so we kind of have to get over it. And then there are some dogs that have had all this confidence, and then something happens to them, and now we have a situation where maybe they got attacked, or maybe something happened outside of the property, and it's just really scary for them to continue to go out. So what we have to kind of look at if we're going to be doing some of this confidence building is what areas are missing, what maybe are we stuck in that fear stage? Did something happen to the dog? Things like that. Is my dog naturally more timid? Because we can help build a lot of that confidence. But if we have a timid dog that's timid, just naturally, it's going to be a lot harder to bring up that confidence and have them just be like a really confident dog. They're probably going to be more of a like calm, timid, confident versus just like outgoing confident is what I kind of see with those dogs. That we can have a dog that can move through things well. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be like outgoing, happy, want to be everybody's friend. Confidence really is just having our dogs be able to go out into the world without having to worry about them worried about everything else in our environment. So there are a few things that we can do to start helping just easily with that confidence building. So some confidence building can be as easy as how we're playing with our dog. If we can get them excited, especially those really timid dogs, if we can get them excited about something. So with Skippy, when we started with her, she was this really timid, scared dog, and we ended up having actually quite a few issues with her as we went through adolescence. And we played and we played, and the ball has been our biggest helper in that way. So if you have a dog that is nervous about things, but has a favorite toy, something like that, that ball goes with us to the vet's office and she holds it in her mouth and she can make it through her vet visits. And that ball kind of is her little safety net. And so we've taken that ball and we've gone and done all of this confidence building work with the ball. And so we don't need it as much, but it is something that has been really, really, really helpful as we've built a lot of confidence. And those that have met Skippy recently, you can tell that she doesn't have a whole lot of confidence issues, but she has had them and we have worked really, really hard to get over them. So one of the biggest ways that we can really help with confidence building is obedience work. Whether you're in a group setting or not, obedience work can help you work with your dog, helps you become a team with your dog. And not only does it build confidence in your dog, but it builds confidence in you, in your ability to handle your dog, in your ability to work through different situations with your dog. And when you're more confident to work through those situations, that does help and transfer to our dogs. So the more confident we are with our ability to work with and handle our dogs, the more confident our dogs can become. So obedience, again, that helps build skills, and every skill that we give our dog, and they're being successful and they do it again and again and again, and they're successful and more successful and successful again, they get this sense of, hey, I did it. Oh, I did it. I did it. We can see that kind of pride in the dog kind of goes, oh, cool. I actually was able to do that. We can start seeing confidence just building because they've had experience after experience after experience of them being successful. So it can be obedience. Again, how we play. So some of my really timid dogs, I am going to play more excited, more big. We're going to play even tug. So some people are like, don't play tug. It can give dogs aggression. But I honestly don't feel like, unless you have an aggression issue, play tug, especially my timid dogs. That can kind of give them the opportunity to really build some of that confidence and kind of get excited and engaged with you. And it's really, really awesome. And like I said, if we have an object or an item that they absolutely love, we can use that in these next few steps to really help us bring the confidence up in our dogs. So a few things that really can help with building confidence that are just really easy steps that you can do are having our dogs go up and down. And I know that sounds interesting. And I had someone, we just did a puppy class. The puppy was about 5 months old. I just worked with them recently, and this puppy came in and it was shaking and just scared, and it would like come up and like barely touch me and run away and bark at me and run up and run away and bark at me. And we just started just doing a few little confidence building with her. And I was just like, hey, look, we've got this little end table, and it actually rocked just a little bit. And the puppy, we could get her up, and she was really interested in getting up. And then the thing would rock and she'd come down. And after once or twice, she was like, hey, cool, I'm a pro at this. And she'd go up. And even though it was rocking and really, for a nervous, scared dog, she was like, hey, cool, I can get up in there. I can do this. And it wasn't that scary to her anymore. And so she was able to work through that. And then she was able to come over and actually have some interactions with me. Whereas for the first 20 minutes, she just barked her head off at me. So we can really build confidence very quickly by going up and down things, having them get onto things that move just a little bit. We don't want it to be like craziness. But up and down, my favorite thing to do is go to the park and use park benches. And I'm just going to have them jump up onto the park bench and off, jump up and jump off. If I'm using a toy, I'm going to have them jump up. I'm going to throw the ball to them. They get to have it, and then I'll have them jump off. And we're going to go up and down until the dog's like, hey, cool, this is awesome. I also really, really, really like to utilize, just make sure I don't have any comments. Sorry, I am trying to figure this out. Okay. I love to utilize the playground equipment. So if I have a dog that is really nervous about kids, I'm going to go when the park is pretty dead, and I'm just going to go, and I am not going to force the dog to do anything. I just grab a leash and I just start walking up the playground equipment, and usually the dog is like, nope, and they don't want to go with me. So I just kind of stand there and sit there, and I'm just going to let the dog hang out and see if they actually want to follow me up the playground equipment. And most dogs, you know, if they're really nervous about it, you know, we try for a second and then we move on. But I will kind of just climb up maybe 1 or 2 steps and sit down. Majority of dogs are going to get curious and they're going to start climbing up and maybe come sit in my lap, and then we're going to have a big old party and we'll hop down. Now, if that was big deal for your dog, we're going to be done for the day. If it was kind of okay, we're going to go and maybe try and have them go up and down 1 or 2 stairs on the playground equipment for a while. And then I really am just looking for them to want to go up the stairs, want to do that all on their own without lots of prompting. I'm not going like down the slides or things like that, but going up and working at levels of the playground equipment has been one of the biggest things I've done with Skippy as far as some of her confidence building that we've done. And I know it, again, it sounds silly, but the many dogs I've worked with doing confidence building, this has been one of the most and more successful things that we can do with them. Having them jump up and jump down. So if you have a tiny puppy that you know is more timid, or you're kind of in a fear stage and you're just like, okay, we're not going to go out to the playground equipment, we can use a stool. You can use like a plastic container. I worked with a lot of puppies, and we will have them get up onto the plastic container and down. So I usually start trying something lower to the ground, and then we can have like a step so that there's one lower and then they can climb on here. This one kind of rocks. So it's one that I would hold still until the dog is comfortable kind of putting paws up there. And then we're going to have them put paws up, and it's going to rock a little bit, and maybe they get nervous and they pop down. I'm not going to say a thing, and I'm going to let them kind of pop back up. So we're going to start allowing them to have these moments where they're like, oh, that didn't move before. That was a little bit nervous. Oh, nothing really bad happened. I'm going to try it again. And typically I'm seeing these dogs do it again and again and again, and then they're starting to do it all on their own. And you can kind of just see that sense of, hey, cool, I can do this. It's really fun to watch dogs kind of start making those connections where they're like, hey, look, my brain, like, I don't have to be nervous about that. I don't have to be nervous about that. And I don't have to be nervous about that. And it's one of my favorite things to watch. So one way, if you have a dog that is really struggling, so you go out to the playground and your dog is like, nope, and puts on the brakes and won't do it, we're never going to force it, but we can also take a confident dog with us, and we can have that confident dog show the other dog what to do. So the very first puppy class that I did in the area, 8 years ago. Yeah, it was a long time ago. For these 2 tiny little puppies. And I went into the home and we worked with a bunch of stuff, and they had this nice little setup in the backyard, and the dogs were allowed to go in and out into her house. But at one point, these dogs, a circumstance type thing, at one point, something scared the dogs when they went through that threshold from the gate to their big dog run barn area into the house. And it was probably a year later when she called me. She's like, hey, can you come help with this? And I was like, okay. So her dogs, like, she couldn't get them out to go to the vet. They wouldn't come in the house. They wouldn't do anything. They would not cross that threshold no matter what. And so I took my German Shepherd with me, and I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And so we just went in, she said hello to the puppies, and then she walked out through that threshold, and the dogs were like, oh, hey, what's she doing? And they came up to the threshold, and they were just like looking like, are we supposed to do this? And I was like, yeah, come on through. And they're like, nope. And they ran away. And so me and Billy just went in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And I wasn't going to force these puppies through it all. And they had both of them on a leash, and then Billy led one through, and back in and back and forth with one. And then the other one's like, oh, maybe I can do it. And then we went back and through, back and forth, back and forth. And we probably spent an hour just going back and forth across that threshold with a confident dog. And she didn't have any issues after that point, but it took a good amount of time to show the dog that this, whatever happened at that threshold, isn't scary anymore. And so if we have different things that we're working through, we have to kind of challenge the dog. We're not going to force them, but we do need to challenge them. We do need to put them into situations where they can start to overcome their fears in a safe way. And if you have a dog that has some confidence issues and you know someone whose dog is fairly confident, that can come and help you, that is always, always, always going to be your easiest option. So go to the park, have their dog jump up on the bench and hop off and see if your dog wants to do it. And maybe they go back and forth, and your dog's like, hey, cool, I can't get up there. And then maybe your dog doesn't want anything to do with going up and down that playground equipment, but the other dog will go up and down, no problem. It's going to show that other dog that, hey, this is cool, this is a possibility. And you might see your dog take more chances. So if you have a dog that really, really is struggling and they have a good doggy friend that can help them overcome some of these things, it really can make a huge, huge, huge difference in your dog's life. A big thing that we did, so when we brought Billy home, she was stuck in a fear stage. She was 12 weeks old, and it really was, we drag her down the street because she was afraid of everything, and she'd drag us home. And when I say everything, it's everything. Like we're walking along and a leaf blows past, and she's like, oh, she freaks out. We're walking along and a sprinklers pop up, and she freaks out, and a car drives past and she freaks out. And every little thing, someone closes the door and she hears it and she freaks out. Every little thing scared this dog at 12 weeks old. And we then started seeing that reacting when she'd see people in the distance, things like that. So obedience classes really, really did help us a ton, really build that confidence. About week 3 into the program, I saw her really just starting to kind of thrive. In addition to that, we started doing some agility work. So we did agility classes outside of just obedience, and watching her have to tackle those different obstacles really made her have to think about things and really made her have to really work hard. And as we started doing, especially the A-frames and the dog walk, where they're like going up, they walk across and they go down, those type of things. And even the tunnels, if you can buy a tunnel off of Amazon and have your dog learn how to go back and forth, like that's really an awesome thing for your dog to be able to do. One, because the tunnels are loud and kind of crinkly and they move a little bit, and that tends to scare some dogs. So things like that, where we are actively, like, we're not forcing them to do it, but giving them the opportunity to go through it or move through something and get that sense of accomplishment, a sense of pride, and really, really, really making a big deal out of it. So praise like crazy are big things that can be super helpful. So I want to kind of pivot from there and go and talk about confidence building as far as it comes to other people. So we have some dogs who are naturally friendly and, maybe even overexcited, and they're kind of, all over the place, but we're not running into issues with them, like growling at people because they're nervous, things like that. And then we have dogs that are more timid or more nervous, and they don't really want to have a lot of interactions with other people. And you're going to find dogs like that, and that's totally fine. If they don't want to have an interaction with another person, then it's my job to advocate for my dog and say, nope, we're not going to say hi, and we move through it. However, we can, if you have a few people who would be willing to work through it with you, so that your dog has these opportunities to have some really safe opportunities to learn how to be around people that are going to completely ignore them. That is something that's really important. So if we're working through saying hi to people or just being comfortable around people. So if I walk up to you and we're standing there and your dog's sitting there growling at me because they're uncomfortable with me being there, we don't want that. We want to be able to walk up and have a conversation with someone with our dogs. They maybe don't want to get or loved on by another person, but they should be able to just hang out next to us and know that we're not going to let anything happen to them. So one thing that we can do to build that confidence in people or our dogs is to sit down and lower the dominance level. So if I have a dog that's really, really, really nervous, and I come into the house to do any work, or recently I did a puppy class with a really nervous dog, and I just sat straight onto the ground. The dog went and sat by its owner's leg and never came near me, didn't want anything to do with cookies, anything. And that was totally fine. She had a really good experience right there that somebody honored that boundary that she really needed. So you're going to utilize this, make sure it's someone that won't come in and get into your dog's space if they don't want it. So what I do is I'll go in, I'll sit down on the ground. Sometimes I'll put some cookies like right on my leg or right next to me. And I'm just gonna ignore the dog. Don't look, don't talk, don't touch. And what we as the owner then are wanting to do is to allow our dogs to get really curious about anything. With confidence building, anything is all about letting them be curious and watching their little brains start going like, oh, hey, maybe I can do a little sniff over here. And I can sniff you from afar and you'll see them kind of stretching, and they'll give a little sniff and then they back up. It's totally fine. We're going to praise all those little things that our dogs do that are brave. Oh, look at you, good dog. And then we'll move on. Again, this person isn't going to look at the dog, touch the dog, talk to the dog. We're really just letting them come up, have a little sniff, move away, come back, have a sniff, move away. Maybe they come up and they grab some cookies and then they move away. I'm not looking to make friends with this dog. I'm really just looking to show this dog that, hey, we're cool here. So at class on Saturday, I had one dog who was losing its mind. It was nervous about people. And we went over and had a conversation with them about this situation and it was a very, what's the word? It wasn't something that you don't see. So it was one person trying to pet someone else's dog. The person said, yeah, you can pet them. And they were going really slow. And the dog was like, please don't have anything to do. I don't want to do anything. I don't want loves. I don't want this. I don't want that. And so I went over and we had some conversations about, hey, you know, when your dog is doing this, they don't really want to say hello and we need to advocate for it. And here's the better way to be able to have more conversations like this. So I went and stood by her. We were chatting, and every time her dog would come over and sniff, she would throw a big party. Hey, what a good puppy. And then the dog would move away. And I just stood there. I kind of faced, because I wasn't going to sit down because the wet grass, but standing there, the dog would come up and just sniff me every once in a while. And I was like, your job is to praise every time she does that. And so, you know, probably within 10 minutes, the dog was hanging out next to me. I never looked at it. I never touched it. I didn't really ever talk to it, but the dog was more comfortable being around me. And then, you know, we had that conversation with the other people and as like, hey, if you want to have these interactions with the dog, I think that's great. This is how we do it, where we ignore completely. And then the other big thing was there's no comforting. So, and I know that sounds like terrible. And we as people, we want to comfort because that's what we do with everything. But what I tend to see dogs getting stuck in these fear stages is because, you know, at 8 weeks, we bring them home and something loud happens and the dog freaks out. And we're like, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And the dog hears, good puppy, good puppy, good puppy. And they start making that connection. Okay, this happens. I hear good dog. This is what you want. This is the behavior you want from me. And so we are seeing this over and over and over again. And, you know, it's one thing and then it happens again in a different situation. It happens again in a different situation. Every situation our dog reacts in a nervous or scared manner, we're going, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And our dog goes, good puppy, good puppy, good puppy. Okay, this is what you want from me. Now, here's my philosophy. I don't want to not allow the dog to find comfort with me. That being said, if every time my dog is nervous, I reach down and go, it's okay, baby, it's okay, they're never going to move through this. Now, if something happens and they're nervous and my dog wants to come up and sit right next to me and lean into me, totally fine. I'm not going to be like, hey, get away from me. It is, you can find comfort with me, but I am not going to talk to you, but I am also not going to reach down and love on you because each one of those things tells your dog, good puppy, good puppy, good puppy. So again, they can find comfort in you. They can't jump on you because they're scared. We're going to kind of push them down. They can't be growling and barking at people, things like that, but they can come and sit and lean into you. Totally fine. We just don't want to talk to them, and we don't want to love on them because we do not want to reinforce that nervousness. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's probably the biggest one, especially if we're stuck in that fear stage, or any type of confidence building that we're needing to do, is if you know you are saying, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, and you're loving on them when we're having these scary moments, that's something to really be aware of and really try to stop. And it's really hard because we as people, again, we want to give that comfort, and it doesn't do our dogs any good as we do that. Seeing some comments. Let me see. Okay. This is Obi. Oh, Zuri is so scared of everything. Confidence building would be so good for her. Yes. What kind of obedience are you talking about? So obedience can be like, honestly, anything you want to. I've seen personally, like in my program where I'm teaching obedience on and off leash, building that confidence is coming through us teaching and forming a bond and really becoming a team with our dog. But honestly, if you don't need like full-on obedience training or anything like that, you can find YouTube videos and train your dog to do some obedience. Train your dog to be able to walk nicely on a leash with you, things like that. More obedience training to become a team versus anything else. Because again, we have a dog that sits, stays, and downs in our house, but as soon as we're on the outside world, they can't do any of those things. So what we're really trying to do is utilize that obedience training to help us become a team together, so that one, we're confident in how we can move forward with our dogs, but also they're confident because they know how to do all of these things as well. So when we're out in these overwhelming experiences, they know how to sit, they know how to down, and they go, okay, we've done this so many times before, I can do it here, and I can do it here. And then every time they have those opportunities to do them in different places, all these different things, they're building confidence there because they got to do it and they did it. And then they're like, hey, I'm proud of myself. And it's pretty cool to watch dogs be proud of themselves. I'm just going to say that. Obi loved the dog walk. The first trainer we had him do it for 5 minutes before his training session. Yeah, absolutely. Things like that, where you can see that they absolutely love what they're doing, can really, really, really help build that confidence, but it's also really building that bond and that trust between you. So a lot of that confidence building comes from building that trust, building that bond, and becoming that team. Because when they can trust you to keep them safe, they're going to be more willing to do those things. So absolutely, if you can see, if you can see those things that they really love doing and they team up with you really well, those are things you want to do. And then go do them in more of the scary areas, so that they're like, hey, I already know how to do this when it's not scary. I can start doing them when it is getting scarier. Zuri will be okay when people are sitting down like at dinner, but as soon as the person she isn't comfortable with stands up and moves, she reacts in a scared way and starts barking or trying to nip. Any ideas on how to get her more comfortable with that? Yes. So in those situations, when we have those sudden movements where we're okay with the person not moving, but then they get up and start moving and then they start freaking out, those are times where we can utilize that leave it command. We can kind of make sure the dog has a really good, it's going to be a lot of practicing where the person, if you have someone, and I know, Alyssa, you've been in class a lot. So if you have some friends that will come and help you, if we can get her used to 1 or 2 people who get up and do these things, then we can work through it with them. And then we can go ahead and get to 1 or 2 more people that are willing to help work through it, where you're going to practice this over and over and over again. She's going to be able to generalize it a whole lot better. So what we're going to do is, start with them coming in. You're going to sit on the couch, just chat, chat, chat. Have your squirt bottle ready so that if she starts barking, it's going to be quiet, or shush, or whatever your quiet command is. You can have her on the leash or a drag line, so she doesn't have to be in your hand. But if she starts charging them or she starts barking at them, you're going to go ahead and either give it, leave it, you're going to have it quiet. And if she does react, we are going to correct for that immediately so that it's not something that works for them. So a lot of times we have dogs that have some of this reactivity-based fear, and they're like, hey, I'm going to growl at you, or I'm going to bark and I'm going to charge at you. It works really, really, really well because the person backs up and the dog goes, hey, cool, look at that. Even if we're out on a walk with a dog that has some of that reactivity base, and even if it wasn't them at all. So you're walking along and a dog comes on the other side and your dog barks and barks and barks and barks and barks. The person keeps going and going and going. Your dog goes, hey, look, I made them do that. They kept going that way. And it's going to reinforce that behavior because they were uncomfortable when they saw the dog. Now they're comfortable because the dog has passed, but they think they did it because they barked and barked and barked. So same with Zuri at the house. She is maybe barking at them and they maybe go and sit back down, or maybe they kind of retreat. So someone that wouldn't be afraid to stand their ground. So if she comes at them, if they would squirt her, hey, knock it off. Where we don't give into that fear tactic where they're like, hey, I'm just going to get big and loud and I'm going to get you out of my space. Or you startled me, I'm going to get you out of my space. So if you want to email or text or message me, Alyssa, I'd love to kind of give you some more that way, but it would be really utilizing finding comfort in you versus having to react in a way to push people away. She can be totally fine. I mean, she may never like the people in your home, but she shouldn't be charging them or barking at them. So send me an email if you want to, but that's right along the lines of where I would start. And with anyone that's having these issues, having a safe space for your dog to go to when people come over, things like that, those are really, really important. But then also being able to work through, especially if there are people that come over often, we can get up and move. We can move from the dinner table to the couch. We can go to the bathroom without having the dog have to get up and be on alert every single time. Kathy on Zoom says our dog jumps onto her lap when she's afraid. We've comforted her. How do we keep her off our lap and change our ways now? So things like that. If we have a dog that's climbing up in our laps because they're scared, I kind of will move them down to the ground. So what you'll do is you can put something on your lap so that you can't jump up on there, and it's just going to be, you can move her down. And then if she sits down on the ground, you could say good or something like that, where she can lean up right against you, totally fine. But if they're jumping up in our laps, I will move them down. So like even ginormous dogs like Danes, and they get nervous and they're like all up on their people, and we want them on the ground. You can lean up against me, totally fine, but you can't be climbing all over me. It's easier when we have smaller dogs when they're climbing up because, you know, it's not as big of a deal. They're not hurting us as they're climbing all over. So a lot of them tend to get away with it a little bit longer. And I shouldn't say get away with it, but they, it's not something that we are super concerned about. They're climbing, we're giving them comfort, we're good here. But then when we get those larger dogs that are climbing, that's the people I hear from most often. How do I stop this? Same with the little dogs. You can sit next to me, even if you don't want to put her on the ground. She can sit next to you, curl up next to you. She just can't be on the lap. So if she climbs over, you can just set her right back over. And this may be what you do. What we do until she stays put. And then we kind of end the interaction. So we're not going to love on her. We're not going to talk to her, but the fight is over because we're not having to continue to move her off. And I will tell you, even to this day with my dogs, it is one of the hardest things that I have to do when the thunderstorm hits, when Oakley comes and she wants so badly to, you know, she just is freaking out and you just want to be like, it's okay. They start finding the ways to calm and comfort themselves. So she'll go get in my shower, or she'll lay underneath my legs. And those are two of her coping strategies, which are great. But I will tell you, it is the hardest thing not to reach down and love on her as she's hiding under my legs. So we will practice a lot with it. Yeah, Alyssa. Okay, Rachel said, so tricks can be, tricks can be really good confidence builder as well. Anything that is like giving them a sense of accomplishment. I know it sounds really silly. Some people are like, oh, dogs don't feel that. Yes, dogs can absolutely feel a sense of accomplishment, a sense of pride. So if your dog loves doing tricks and is good at it, absolutely, that can really build a lot of confidence in a dog. So Rachel says that was Obi as well. Wish we knew about the squirt bottle before. We used a prong collar for that, but we know better now. So Rachel, sometimes with that prong collar, we can utilize it if we have some pretty severe aggression. We can give a specific correction with it, but it is very it's something that I work with people specifically with. It's not just something I'm like, hey, yeah, just try this. It is something that we work through. But that squirt bottle can really, really, really help with some of this stuff in the house, for sure. It's the most amazing thing to watch. We went through this with Obi. Yeah, Obi's doing awesome. I've loved watching him kind of just, you know, I don't think he'll ever be a dog that loves people, but he definitely is like, yeah, cool, we're good here. I see a lot more confident, or I see confidence in him when I see the videos that you're posting. So, all right, guys. We'll post a guide tomorrow kind of with some of what we chatted about. But again, really what we see as far as socially or confidence goes is sometimes it's a socialization issue. I have a resocialization guide and YouTube video that I have up. I've linked it in the guide. So you can go watch that if you feel like some of this is more socialization. If you have a dog that's just personality-wise is more timid, just know we're going to have to do a lot more and be a lot more excited to kind of bring some of that timid energy, or to bring out some more of that excited energy in the dog. So we're stuck in a fear stage because we've comforted, or we weren't able to kind of help them transition through it. And that is a really normal thing. And I'll tell you, before I became a trainer, I had no idea what a fear stage was. And I know the dog I had growing up, his name was Buddy, was stuck in a fear stage his whole entire life because of what happened to him during that fear stage. I know the exact moment and where it went downhill from there, but I didn't know how to get out of it. And so being stuck in that fear stage isn't your fault. It's not your dog's fault. It is something that you absolutely can work through. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to DM me. And then sometimes, again, we have dogs that have confidence, and then we have a circumstance that happens or a situation that happens that kind of destroys their confidence. And so we can regarding all of those different ways, we can continue to build that confidence. Again, best way to do so is up and down, up and down, up and down. That puppy class I was talking about where we had the puppy go in and down. I'll see if I actually have that one that I can clip and show you. And see if I can add that to the guide, puppy. But up and down is your best way. Park benches, stools, boxes, whatever it is, up and down. Training, and then playing with our dogs, how we play with them can really, really help boost that confidence. And then never forcing, but also here's the biggest thing is actually challenging our dogs, because I know that there are situations that happen where we get really scared. Hey, maybe we went out and our dog was attacked and now we're afraid to go walk our dogs. And it's scary for us and it's also scary for them. But if we aren't exposing and challenging our dogs even just a little bit, it's never going to get better. And so we're not forcing it. And this is kind of just, there's a really fine line about not forcing the dog to do something, but also challenging them so that we don't get stuck. And I had a client call me and they'd been attacked on a bike ride, and she was really upset about it, and her dog was really upset about it. And I totally get it. I think one of the worst things we can do when something like that happens, especially with our dogs that are timid already, is not going back out and facing the world, even if it is during really early mornings or late into the evenings when you're not going to see other dogs and things like that. But getting back out there, and I told her this story, it's like embarrassing for me, but when I was 16 or 17, I got pulled over and I didn't get a ticket, but I was like devastated, just embarrassed. And I was like, I'm never driving again. Never. And it just hit me hard. I don't know why, but my mom was like, Sarah, you're going to go drive your car around the block right now. And I was like, oh no, I'm not driving the car anymore. She's like, no, you're going to go drive around the block. And so, for the next 2 days, I drove my car around the block until I could actually drive places again. And I know that sounds like really silly, but it was challenging for me. It wasn't forced, and it was just around the block. So things like that, if we're having things that are happening with our dogs and we're not going and then allowing them to be challenged to work through these things, we're going to stay stuck where we're at. So like I said, it's a really fine line. So if you have questions about how to find not forced, but challenged, let me know, because it is something that can be, with every dog is going to be different, because some dogs we're going to challenge in a little different way or a lot more versus dogs that we're like, hey, our challenge is going to be very little, and then we'll build to big challenge. So just so you know, confidence building is going to be different for every single dog out there. But thanks for jumping on. If you have any questions, if you're here for the replay, post them below. I'd love to answer them. But we will end for tonight, and I will chat with you guys our next live. So we will be moving to Tuesday nights, and I'll be doing a live right before my online session, my online program, once a month. And then I will do probably a lunchtime live the other time. So I'll have one evening and one noon time live for the next couple months. So if you also have any ideas or things that you want to chat about during our next live, feel free to shoot me a message or post below, and I will go ahead and add that to the schedule. So I'll post new dates and pin it at the top, but the next one we will do, it'll be 7 to 8 on a 7 to 7:30 on a Tuesday, and then we'll do a noon time slot on, I'm not sure what day, but I'll let you guys know, and I will chat with you guys all later. Thanks for stopping in.